What up, people?
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to our channel. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about 10 things you need to discuss before you get married.
Before you get married.
Before you get married. Some of these things we actually talked about, and some of these things I wish we would have. Since we're in quarantine, I know that there's a lot of people, and with you being a wedding photographer, we know, a whole bunch of weddings got canceled. So this is y'all opportunity to reevaluate
Your whole life.
readjust, and talk about some things you haven't talked about before. The first thing that we feel like you should talk about before getting married is cleanliness. You need to know how your spouse is living or how they plan on living, okay?
If you're a neat freak and your girl is not a neat freak, you basically have to evaluate that before you get into a relationship, because that can make a break. I honestly think in relationships in general, it's the small things that may mess up the relationship, anyway. So I feel like that's one of those make or breaks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I feel like you need to really sit down and talk about it, because just given from our experience, we lived in separate places before we moved in. And before you used to come over, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be cleaning stuff like, ooh, I probably should get this together. I need to get this together before you came over.
And then once you got used to me,
when we moved in, you was like, I didn't know you do this.
Yeah.
I didn't know you do that. So I definitely think that you need to have a very open, transparent conversation about cleanliness. And not even cleanliness, but just like, how is your spouse living? You know what I mean? Like, do they like to let their laundry stack up for a whole month before they wash their clothes? Or do they like to keep everything neat and they do their laundry once a week? Like, those are conversations that you need to have.
Definitely.
All right, so for number 2, we have food expectations. I know that's a little bit weird. Like food expectations, what does that even mean? There could be a big miscommunication if you don't talk about if you prefer to eat out over a home cooked meal, or if you prefer to have a home cooked meal versus eating out. I feel like we didn't really talk about that one before we got married.
No.
And before we got married, we were eating out a whole lot.
Honestly, we didn't buy groceries. Well, I would buy groceries.
I didn't.
But yeah,
I'd be like, let me make a reservation for us.
It has to be a balance, and I think that can pull on a relationship too, because at one point I was like at the point where I was like, I don't want to go out to eat no more.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's got to be a balance.
So the reason why this made the list is because there could be a very big miscommunication if you guys don't already have that standard set or that expectation set. You might be marrying a woman, from a male's perspective, you might be marrying a woman that's not like your mama, that don't want to cook every night, and vice versa. For the ladies, you may be marrying a guy that prefers to eat out and have, reservations as opposed to a home cooked meal.
Somebody that ain't never cooked is learning how to cook. You get what I'm saying?
Somebody's eating some cooked rice.
Yeah, somebody eats some uncooked rice or some almost.
You had a few struggle plates.
Oh man, I
had a lot of struggle plates.
A lot of struggle plates. I mean, it was just like on some like, yeah, this is good, babe. This is good. Mm-hmm. So number 3 is family health.
If you guys are really close to getting married, then this is a topic that shouldn't be skipped over, because you have to think about when you start having kids, if a person has something that can easily be passed down through like genetics, DNA, whatever the case may be. If a person has something that can be passed down to your kids, then that's something that you'll definitely want to be aware of and you'll want to know. And I think you'll appreciate having that open discussion, just knowing really what you're getting yourself into for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I feel like moving on from things you can pass down to your kids, the next topic that you'll probably want to discuss before you get married, if you haven't already, is kids. Does your spouse want kids? I think is the biggest.
It's one of the biggest questions that comes up in a relationship. Some people feel like they're not ready. Some people feel like they're never ready. Some women now don't even want to go through that far as their bodies.
And then there's some women out there that want 9 or 10 kids.
Yeah,
so
and some dudes that just don't want that.
Yeah, so I think that if you haven't already talked about, which I feel like kids is a pretty common topic to talk about. If you haven't already talked about that, definitely bring that up. Even all the way down to like whether or not your spouse wants to adopt. I know for me, I've expressed to Tower that I think after we have, our set number of kids, that I have expressed to him that I do want to adopt. Like, I feel like it's important. There's so many kids out there that don't have a home. And so I would love to be able to give a child that opportunity to have a nice family.
So number 4.
5.
Number 5 it is, is religious beliefs. You got to make sure that if you get in a relationship with a person that is set in stone on the way they feel about life and their worldview, that it lines up with yours. I feel like when we entered into this relationship, we kind of already meshed on that level. And I do think in a lot of relationships, if it does not line up, then they probably won't even go down this path or be in a relationship this long. And there's other people that be in relationships where they feel like they can change a person over time to like convert them, and it don't work out that way. So you definitely have to make sure that, it lines up.
You just want to make sure that you guys are equally yoked in that space, no matter what you believe or if you don't believe.
Well, and
because that can make or break a relationship. All right, so going into number 6. Now, y'all gonna laugh at me when I say this, but this is so true. And we did not talk about this before we got married. But number 6 is temperature. You need to talk about how hot or how cold you like your house, your car.
Hey, look,
if you like to lay underneath the covers with the fan on, you need to talk about this. Because after we got married, I found out that he likes our house to be on Antarctica, like 50 degrees
and
below.
she like it to be on Africa. Like, who has time to feel like
but
sweating for no reason? Like, I'm sweating around the house just grabbing a bottle of water. Like, I'm confused.
Well, I'm freezing. I gotta walk around with a jacket on and everything. Just make sure you talk about, like, just throw it in there. Like, so on average, how hot do you like your house, or how cold do you like? What temperature do you keep your house at? Because mine is a solid 80. We keep that over the years.
We
taking some time.
Yeah, we didn't got used to it, and we didn't put it at a nice temperature.
Yeah, we keep it about like 74, 75.
It's 77.
I make sure it's 75.
Okay, well, I was trying to be nice, but if it's 75, then we're going down to
75, stay alive.
Yeah. Number 7, I think, is key in a relationship, point blank, period. You got to have goals. You got to have a reason for starting something, reason for finishing something. So,
and I think just to add to that, having goals is important, but discussing each other's goals and how you want to achieve those goals is very important, because as a spouse, as a mate, it's our jobs to help each other grow and achieve the things that we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I definitely think having the conversation of like where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years. We talk about our goals like I feel like daily, kind of. We went from writing our goals down into our phones to now we actually have like a board in his office that tracks our goals. So I definitely think knowing where you guys want to be in the next 5, 10, even 1 year is really important, and just make sure you guys are seeing eye to eye with your goals. Number 8. All right, so number 8 is actually finances. Now, this one is a big one. This is like dropping the F word. This is actually, again, something that I felt like we talked about, but we could have probably had
we could have had a whole lot more discussion on this. Coming out the gate, like, we were like 2 different ways with spending money.
We've definitely viewed finances completely different.
Yeah, way different.
I think one of the things that you guys should talk about is right off the back, moving in with each other, bill responsibility. Is the husband gonna take care of all of the bills? Are you guys gonna split all of the bills? And bill responsibility is something that you want to discuss, so that way that expectation is set.
It's set from the gate.
I think also too, going into a little bit deeper of the finances, right? Because you want to make sure you're budgeting. You guys are thinking about your future, so like retirement and things like that. Right off the back, one of the things that was kind of a struggle for us was figuring out if we wanted to have joint accounts. As we started off with separate accounts, and then we eventually discovered that it actually works better for us to have joint accounts. So I think having that type of discussion is really important, because it's different when you've been managing your own for so long, and then now you have to share this responsibility with somebody else. So I think having the finance topic is really important, because I know we said a lot of these can make or break a relationship, but actually finance is really on the list. Money problems is on the list, or is high up on the list for causing divorce. So number 9, keeping the spark alive. So being married, that's forever, that's for life. So you want to talk about, and it might be a little weird to talk about, 50 years down the line, how y'all gonna be keeping the spark alive.
Talk about it.
But I feel like it's just interesting to hear each other's thoughts and see, how you guys gonna keep things nice, fresh, and spicy.
Why do everybody go to the shimmy as if like that's the sexiest?
You want me to Harlem Shake?
But yeah, keeping the spark alive. I think
that's straight to the point. Like, how are you gonna keep the spark alive? What you about to do to keep me on my toes, boo?
I can't get none off. Quality time. I think it has to be a balance. Like, you got work life, you got regular life, and I feel like quality time is one of those things that we take advantage of when we first start getting in a relationship. And then people start to get to know each other, and then they start neglecting quality time, thinking as if like it's not needed anymore because you got used to them. So I feel like quality time is something that you have to keep up with. You have to look at your spouse or your significant other as the main event, like the end all be all. And I feel like if you don't value that in the relationship, then it's gonna fall.
I think discussing quality time is a key factor, because if you guys haven't, let's say for example, you guys haven't traveled together, is it because the person that you're going to marry is a homebody and they prefer to stay at home? Or do you guys prefer like adventurous vacations? Like, how do you guys plan on spending your quality time with each other? All right, so that was our 10 topics that we feel like you all need to discuss before you get married. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so you guys can see when we post our next video. And I mean, we're kind of new to this. We've been married for almost 4 years. So if you have any suggestions, make sure you leave a comment and let us know below what you feel like new couples should talk about before they get married. Help us, help everybody else. All right, you guys, thanks for watching Court and Tower. Peace.